Hey, what's up, y'all? How's it going? It's another episode of Bill and Tony's Excellent Adventure. We got a big show for you here today with a couple of special guests we'll tell you about here in a second. Also, remember, you can check out all of our episodes, full podcast episodes, on YouTube, Spotify, and Patreon. Please connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Check out the full podcast episodes, also the reels, and make sure if you are liking what you're seeing, like and especially subscribe. We do have a really interesting show today. This is going to be something you've never heard. I think we can guarantee that. Last episode we had Bill Corum, whose story has actually just blown up on YouTube and Spotify, Patreon, TikTok, everywhere. Because the story is fascinating. He was a hardened criminal. I mean, among the worst of the worst. And he's now really among the best of the best. And he is going to come back, but he has got a guest that he's bringing in with us, and that story is just equally as amazing. And the fellow that he's bringing with him is named John Cantrell, also known as John the Ironman Cantrell. He is a heavyweight boxing champion, currently holds 3 belts, and they will be on with us, guests, here in just a minute. So let's get right to it. The sports hot topics today. The Chiefs. Oh. I don't know, Billy. I thought that of all the times we've had to go to Buffalo to play in a regular season, I thought this one was the one we were going to get.
I did too. I felt really good about the game, and it's just they got to get some help from Mahomes on that offensive line. You know, it seems like every game you watch, Mahomes is their leading rusher. And last night, Mahomes, 15 of 34, his worst career completion game, no touchdowns, did pass for 254 yards, but Joey Bosa spent as much time in the Chiefs' backfield as Kareem Hunt. I mean, it was embarrassing. He was running for his life the entire game. Now, that being said, in regular season, the Bills have defeated the Chiefs 5-1, 5 games to 1. Yeah. In postseason, 4-0 for the Chiefs and Mahomes. So, remember earlier in the season where I'm talking about all these idiots that are saying the Chiefs aren't going to make the playoff? If the season ended today, they would not be in the playoffs.
Okay, so we got the bye week. That's next.
That's right.
And we're going to have
they're going to be
so
fine.
We're 5-4, so that's 9. If my math is right, if I got enough toast to count this on, we got 8 games left?
8 games.
Don't you think we got to win 6 of those?
Oh, absolutely.
You think we can? I think we can.
I think we can.
And
I tell you
going
what,
to be those first 2 games, though, after the bye. We got to go to Denver.
And
then we got to play the Colts. But, again, Denver wins. They beat the Jets 10-6.
Sure.
They won 18-15 yesterday. Look, their defense is great.
Yes.
And they're a good football team. I'll give them what they want. I'll give them their due. And the Colts, okay, they got the best record in the league. You can't turn your back on it. But I don't know. I've always called Daniel Jones Lloyd Christmas. That's who he always reminded me of. But, maybe he's Mr. Christmas now. I don't know.
Who knows?
So we'll see. I think, because if we can win both of those games, then I think we'll be in a position to where we'll be okay.
And, there are going to be some upsets I'm sure, upset losses for the teams in our division.
Yeah.
But, right now, it's sketchy.
I got to say something, though, because I think I can't be the only one thinking this. What the hell's going on with Chris Jones? Has he made a play all year?
I don't know. I don't know if he's playing, if he's PO'd at somebody. I don't know if they're double teaming.
Right.
No. Last year was his greatest year, I think, ever.
Yeah.
And then you come in this year, and I know, he's the heart and soul of that defense up front. And Bolton continues to play well. And
I
Chanel.
I know they double team him, but not always.
No, not always. Not always. I don't know. There's some trouble going on there. I'm not around the team as much as I used to be, and I hope Spagnola and Andy can get it all straightened out.
Yeah, well, they got 2 weeks to do it.
Yes.
So that'll be good.
That's good.
Let's cover some other things. Kansas City Mavericks off to a pretty decent start. They're at last check, they were 4-3. They got some games this week. The KC Current, who we've talked about every week.
I know.
Deservedly so. They wrapped up the regular season with their first come from behind win of the year. They were down 1-0 or 1-0, whatever the hell they call it. They won 3-2. Or 2-1, excuse me. They won 2-1. They finished the regular season with the best record in the league: 21 wins and 3 losses and 2 draws. So the playoffs are next. So obviously they're the number 1 seed. They're going to play at home on the 9th against the team from New York, Gotham FC. So I think we got a pretty darn good shot of winning this whole thing.
Well, the whole playoff structure last year favored Kansas City, and then they didn't make it to the championship game. So they're playing with a bad taste in their mouth.
You know it. Speaking of the current, two of the ladies are going to flip the switch for the plaza lighting ceremony.
That's cool.
Kayla Sharples and Laura Ivory will do that on Thanksgiving night. The World Series, I mean, as much as we loved 14 and 15, but for obvious reasons, but wasn't that a series for
the ages?
Yeah, I mean,
18-inning game. What about playing 18 innings, hitting 2 homers and 2 doubles, and then you start as the pitcher the next night? That was unreal. And what Yamamoto did, coming back, pitching nearly 3 innings in the Game 7.
And he got the MVP for it, and he deserved it.
He totally deserved it.
He deserved it. And how about the guy for the Dodgers, Miguel Rojas, with two outs, gets a low and outside slider, and he's reaching for it and puts it over the left field wall. I mean, that was their Christian Colon.
Well, absolutely. And, he had not hit a home run since September 19th.
Yes. I mean,
no.
And, the Blue Jays, bases, runner on second with nobody out in the 9th, bases loaded in the 10th, bases loaded in the 11th. You just can't.
No, you can't.
Felt so bad for those guys.
I really did. I mean, I had no dog in the fight. In fact, Game 7 was the only game I watched all the way through. But it made me fall in love with baseball again.
Yeah, it was good to see.
Amazing.
It was good to see. It was really good. Speaking of baseball, 2 Gold Gloves for the Royals.
Yeah, how cool is that?
3 of them were nominated, or were in the running. Bobby Witt Jr. for shortstop, and good for this kid, Michael Garcia, for third base, wins the Gold Glove. Michael had a breakout year at the plate.
Yes.
But then he wins the Gold Glove.
I know.
I mean, that's good for those guys.
Well, the cool thing about the Gold Glove is you can talk to George Brett about any of the 3 batting titles, the World Series, anything.
Yeah.
So the things he's most proud of is winning a Gold Glove in '85. Yeah.
Really?
And because – boy.
Well, you think about how many chances you get at shortstop and
know.
at third base.
I know, man.
Over the course of 162 games.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Good for those guys. And we had another big weekend of Friday Night Lights.
Oh.
High school sports. We're now into the playoffs, and it was big.
It was big. And this is the time you lose, you go home. Your season's over.
Yeah.
So, over on the Kansas side, the Valley schools are just phenomenal.
Yeah, that was the Mill Valley
and Blue Valley. 35-25 win for Mill Valley. That sets up a game against another Valley. Mill Valley beat Blue Valley 35-25, and that's Mill Valley now advances to face another Kansas giant, St. Thomas, and that's a marquee battle right there. That's almost like, and we're going to talk about it here in a second, what we can expect with Blue Springs and Blue Springs South Friday night.
And it's coming up again.
I know.
South won again big. Blue Springs was off. Or was it the other way around?
South was off. 9-0. They were off. Blue Springs beat Columbia Rockbridge. Now get this, man. The score 7-0 at halftime.
That's it.
And Blue Springs comes back and scores 24 points in the second half.
So which means
24-7.
Which
so
means
Cat Clash 2, baby. Oh, I know.
We had the big show out at Vito's with with Aiden and the coach Wilmus and
amazing.
Of course South won that game actually pretty handily, but
35-7.
But I'm telling you, man, you don't for every sport. The playoffs, you throw out that regular season, right?
Well, you do, and especially at the high school level.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Blue Springs South's going to win the game handily, but I don't think it's going to be another 35-7 game.
But Billy, you just don't know.
No, you don't.
That's why they play the games, right?
Absolutely.
All right, what else you got?
Well,
those are the biggies.
Everything's going on this Friday, and Missouri and the Kansas side both have big games.
Yeah.
Wyatt Erickson, the quarterback for Blue Springs, had a great game in that victory over Rockbridge, and Aiden Wilhelm, I believe, is going to be the Missouri Player of the Year. Yeah. He just does so many good things at quarterback. There was an interesting game at Fort Osage. Fort Osage played Truman. Truman has struggled with its football program for eternity. Patriots went out to a 14-0 lead. Fort Osage scored 35 second-half points to win that game, 35-14.
Wow.
Right now, they might not have long to celebrate because they will travel over to Rockhurst this Friday, and Rockhurst is coming off a 42-6 win over William Chrisman.
Yeah, another close one.
So, yeah. And then, Van Horn had struggled this season.
Yeah.
And they got a big pick six by Chaz Sauls, and they came away with a 49-14 win over Excelsior Springs.
Good for them.
So, high school sports is like ice cream. Until you taste ice cream, you don't know what it's like. High school, Friday night under the lights during the playoffs, there's no way I could tell you or write a story about what it means to where you'd fully experience like attending a game. So, not doing anything this Friday night, check out one of these great high school playoff games.
Man, you're right. I mean, I need to get back to doing that because I remember just even being in high school, and I was fortunate enough.
Oh, yeah.
I was at De La Salle, and they were the first Kansas City team to win the 3A state championship.
Yep.
Then when De La Salle closes, I come to Independence and go to St. Mary's, and they won a championship. So it was, you're right. It's really, really exciting. And good for these kids.
Oh, it's when you have a successful season, you create a bond during the season. When you make a deep run in the playoffs or win a state champ, that's your family for life.
Yeah. I
mean, 25 years from now, they'll be telling stories about the game and with their kids in tow and their wives in tow. And, I'm 43 years as a sports writer at the Examiner. I got to experience a lot of that, and it was fun.
You saw it. Well, that's good. So we got another big weekend coming up of high school football playoffs. Okay, so Halloween in the rearview mirror now. Do you have a lot of kids in your neighborhood?
Yeah. My wife and I actually took 2 cars to the trunk and treat at our church, and I couldn't believe how many Super Mario Brothers there were.
My grandson, Jace.
Did he? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Our cars decorated with some panels that Stacy and I painted 4 years ago. One is Snoopy and Charlie Brown and a pumpkin patch. The other one is Linus and the Great Pumpkin.
Yeah.
So all these little 3-4-year-old Snoopy, Charlie Brown, and I'm like, wow, Then, a ton of the emojis or the characters that I don't even know what they are. And one little girl did a great job of explaining exactly who she was for me because she is some kind of princess, but she wasn't just a princess.
Oh, of course not.
So Halloween, when my boys were young, they enjoyed Halloween more than Christmas.
Weird or unusual costumes this year?
Well, nothing like we're about to talk about.
This is just I was not aware of. I mean, I know Heidi Klum. Everybody knows Heidi Klum, beautiful woman. But I didn't know that she is almost as famous for this as she is for being an actress.
Absolutely.
For extreme Halloween costumes every year. Producer Tony, we were watching some of this stuff. I couldn't believe it. Medusa.
With the snakes coming out, and they're moving, and then it was wow.
The princess, Fiona from Shrek.
Right.
And the one that just blew me away. Did you see her as a worm?
Yes.
I was like, what the hell?
And the cool thing about this is, she goes full blown. There's no way you can tell it's Heidi Klum.
No, you can't tell
it's
her.
not like she's, a princess and you see her face and all the dress and hair and all that. No, She's hardcore Halloween.
Yeah, you guys, you see them up here, but check that. It's unbelievable. But two things that just I don't know. Get that bleeper ready.
Yeah, yeah.
Because so you know the actress Jessica Fox.
Mm-hmm.
That's the girl that was seen with Kanye West for quite a while, and she always wore like stuff that was totally see through.
Yeah.
Here's what she wore for Halloween.
I still don't believe.
I'm telling you guys, this was the most tasteless thing I've ever seen. She wore the pink dress with the pillbox hat that Jackie Kennedy wore when the president was assassinated in Dallas. You guys know what that looks like. And this outfit was complete with the blood stains on the front. She said she was making a statement of trauma, power, femininity as a form of resistance. I think it made a statement of what an idiot you are.
I know.
I mean, can you be any more disrespectful to?
No.
To I don't. First of all, she wasn't alive then. She, not to say that you can't wear a nostalgic costume for Halloween, but of all the things she could have wore, I mean, dress up as that ugly ass Queen Elizabeth or something like that.
No, this was as tasteless as anything I can remember in my lifetime. And thank God it hasn't taken on a life of its own. I think everybody basically has just tried to skip over it. But, yeah, that was brutal.
Can I tell you one worse? This one, eight Arizona high school teachers, eight high school teachers,
yes,
wore blood-stained white T-shirts with the words "problem solved" written across the front. Blood-stained, "problem solved" written across the front, mocking the death of Charlie Kirk.
I just wonder if they still have jobs. I mean, those are the people that teaching kids, and you can have I don't care what your opinion is. It's the United States. You can have an opinion, but boy, you don't put blood on a shirt, write "problem solved," and then go out and celebrate the death of Charlie Kirk.
What are you teaching kids with that?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, the only for me problem solved is you're out of work. You ain't teaching nobody in Arizona.
Yep.
I gotta calm down, Bill.
I know,
pisses
man.
Me off.
I've kind of got this throbbing vein right here in my neck, and it's.
Did you ever wear something really funny or anything? You got were you like Porky Pig or something like that?
No, my boys were though. Holy cow, my kids! They were everything under the. Back when It first came out, the Stephen King novel.
Oh yeah, right.
Sean was It. And that Halloween we spent in the emergency room because he was allergic to the face paint. So we're in there, and there'd just been a bad boat wreck out on Lake Jacomo.
Oh, no.
So we're in there with all these people that are missing extremities and a lot of
They're
blood.
really
and I'm sitting here, and Sean goes, "Dad, we should just leave. They're in a lot worse shape than I am." But we got him taken care of.
I remember when I was way younger, and I was playing in the band at the merry-go-round.
Yeah.
And the other guitar player and I both wore, it was President Reagan and President Carter masks, the full pullover masks. Yeah. And it was funnier than hell. And I would get up on the mic and go, "Well, we're gonna do this." I got Doug. I'm gonna bust him right now. Our producer one year had the Edward Scissorhands. No, it was the Freddy Krueger. Yeah, the Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
With the long ass.
Sure.
Well, it was great until he wore him to school. Yeah. And, his mom and I got a call.
Oh, you did? I can't imagine.
Oh, I can't imagine either. Yeah, he decided, he thought those would be fun to wear on the bus and into school.
There you go.
But I got one. You know what would be funny for us? This would be really funny. Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, I don't even need to wear a costume.
Yeah, that would be fun. Which one would you want, the blue or the peanut orange?
I'll take the peanut orange.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to be.
That's got you written all over.
That's
it.
right.
Yeah, right. All right. So here's an idea. I don't know if this would be good for Halloween, but, the holidays are coming up. We got Thanksgiving and Christmas coming along. Hallmark, they do these, the Hallmark Christmas movies every year, and they're big at Christmas. Well, they've launched a nationwide search for its first ever Mr. Hallmark Christmas experience. They're looking for Finding Mr. Christmas. So you could put a video together and show them, Bill, why you would make an incredible Mr. Christmas.
Well, I've already sent yours in, and it's pretty good. You don't even know. I recorded you when you weren't aware of it.
Good, and just so you showed off my charisma, creativity,
that's right.
And, of course, my holiday spirit.
Amen.
Yeah, good. I'm glad that you were able to do that.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll win the grand prize where I get to meet, those actors on those shows that always got those smiley faces.
Oh,
and all
I
that
know.
stuff.
They are smiley.
All right, okay. I was going to say, I think that's all about you, but thanks for thinking about me. All right, so we have some music and entertainment news this week. The guy that I know that you really, really loved a lot in younger days, Bruce Springsteen. So he came out with a movie. Mm-hmm. Oh, before we get into what the results of that box office receipts were, this year we've had the movie about Bob Dylan.
Yes, which was
with Timothée Chalamet.
So good.
Which was really, really, you said it was a terrific, and it's gotten wonderful reviews. Yeah. Of course, we had the Taylor Swift movie,
sure.
The making of the Showgirl thing, and it did great. This movie about Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, was a flat-out turd. I mean, as far as a bomb.
Yeah.
It got beat out by Chainsaw Man, the movie. Black Phone 2.
Yes.
Regretting You. All did better than Bruce Springsteen.
Well, with that movie, what I don't understand, and I haven't seen it yet, I will eventually see it. Why would you take the bleakest, most depressing album that he has ever made, Nebraska? Has great songs on it,
but it was not commercial.
No.
It was no.
And everybody knows "Born in the USA."
Wouldn't you think that would have been the movie title?
That's what. When I heard that, I thought, sure,
like that,
And Jeremy Allen White, who's won 100 Emmys for his work on The Bear.
Yeah.
On streaming services about
Jeremy
a wrestler.
Allen White, right?
Yeah. Guess he did a great job, but man, I'm done. As crazy as the world is right now, I'm done going to see depressing movies. I mean, I can look at my checkbook and be depressed enough, So I just don't need to see a movie like that, and I guess a lot of people are thinking the same way.
Yeah, it's I would have thought it would have done better than that, but who knows? On the other hand, Kenny Chesney,
your
pal,
boy.
He's been invited back, and he's accepted, of course. He's going back to the Sphere this coming summer, in June, Las Vegas, June 19th through 27th. He had a big run there last summer, and the tickets are already on sale for that.
We just need to grab our wives, Jerry and Stacy, and just head down there and check that out. Because
we I got a guy.
I know you do, man. That's why every time the phone rings and I see your name, I'm thinking, hey, Kenny's going to be on the show, or hey, I'm going to see Kenny in Vegas. And
we're going to work on that.
Yeah, we got to work on that.
That might just be able to happen. For Christmas, Barbie's still real big.
Yep.
I mean, it's just never going to go away. There is a Barbie doll coming out for this Christmas of Stevie Nicks. Now, she had one out in 2023, and it's sold out like that.
Really?
It was inspired by the Rumors album.
Okay.
So this one is going to be inspired by her solo album, Belladonna.
Oh.
And Stevie Nicks, she just had a bad accident. I think she broke her shoulder.
Yeah, she had to cancel her.
Yeah, she had to cancel a bunch of shows, but she's getting another Barbie doll coming out.
Man, I tell you what, I met her in 1978 during the Rumors tour. God. I met all of them.
She was beautiful, too.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, she just left you starstruck. And she is so nice. And she was playing Arrowhead with Fleetwood Mac at one of the big Arrowhead shows, and that was quite the night. So, yeah. I've never collected a Barbie in my life, but I may have to look into that.
Yeah. one of our favorite bands, both of us, Led Zeppelin.
Yes, sir.
PETA is now getting involved with one of their people.
Yes.
PETA is urging Led Zeppelin frontman Robert Plant to temporarily change his name to raise awareness for alternatives of sheep wool. So they want him to, they sent him a letter and they said, would you please mind changing your name to Robert Plant Wool for November, which is, who knew, Plant Wool Month. Get it? Plant Wool. Who knows what that is? Plant Wool Month.
Zoom.
Yeah. So
That's a new one on me.
I haven't.
What was his reply?
Plant has yet to reply.
Okay.
So what are they going to do next? Steven Tyler Steel Wool Month? I mean, give me a break. So, and last but not least, police in Southern California arrested a suspect who they have given him a really funny name. They arrested this guy. His real name is Jacob Daniel Rodriguez. They arrested him in Santa Ana, California, a couple of days ago, and they call him Postal Malone. Now that's freaking funny.
That's a great nickname.
Postal
man.
Malone, and the reason is because he's got these damn tattoos and stuff
yeah.
all over him. So they said he was stealing packages from apartment complexes and all kinds of stuff like that. So Postal Malone, has been.
I bet Post Malone hears that and even gets a chuckle.
Oh,
out of it.
you know he will. Postal. So let me ask you: Postal Malone or Jelly Roll? Who do you like best?
I like Jelly Roll. I can't believe what he's done here recently.
Me too. But man, Post Malone is so good.
He can do anything,
dude. I mean, he's a big country star.
I know
now.
what he is a country singer.
I mean, it's good. All right, so I don't know. That's a tie with me. Okay, so let me ask you this: Coke or Pepsi?
Oh, Coke.
All right, one
Definitely
more.
Coke.
Dr. Pepper or Mr. Pibb?
Dr. Pepper.
Okay.
I didn't even know Mr. Pibb was still around.
They're coming back.
Ah.
It's been gone 24 years. I didn't realize it. So they make that Pibb extra.
Yeah.
But so the Mr. Pibb is coming back, and it's going to have 30% more caffeine than Pibb Extra does.
Well, that's what you and I need.
Oh yeah, that's like that's like Pibb Extra Large. So all right, so Mr. Pibb is coming back. Okay, so I'm going to put you on the spot again. What's the favorite color car you ever had?
Cranberry red.
Oh, get out of here, cranberry red. What?
Deep red, man. Not red, shiny engine red. And I like the cranberry red.
Okay. Cranberry red. That's your new nickname. I've seen it. We'll be at the Hall of Fame induction. He's getting ready to go into the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, you know I'm going to MC this, right?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Cranberry Red Althouse. Okay, so the reason I ask, what do you think are the best colors for resale and the worst colors for resale? Maybe one or two. What do you think? What do you think's the best color to?
Primary colors like a dark blue or a lot of people like white cars. I never did because you had to wash them too much.
Yeah. What color? What are you driving now?
Silver. It's kind of a silver color.
Yeah.
Kia.
Yeah. I thought that your favorite would be the one that you drove for years, that neon purple Kia Soul.
Oh yeah. That.
This is crazy. I would have thought this had been the other way around.
Yeah.
The top color resale value: yellow, orange, and green.
Never in a million years would I have picked those.
Yellow, orange, and green. They say yellow retains the most value, only 24%, losing that much in 3 years. That's it. Wow. Followed by orange and green, which are about the same. I had a yellow Volkswagen.
Now, Volkswagens can be yellow.
I had a yellow. Tone remembers this
because
he and I used to drive around when he was little. And he used to tell me, "Daddy, open the sky."
Yeah.
Because it had a crank.
Oh man.
Sunroof.
Oh yeah, sunroof.
Yeah. I had a yellow Bug. Never had an orange car. Man, I don't know. And I did have a dark green Camaro. with low ground effects.
Now, see, dark green,
96.
I'm fine with that. I'm talking about, the canary green that, Stacy and I'll be driving along and see a green car like that, and we're like, what the hell were those people thinking of?
Yeah. Oh, that Camaro was so fine.
There you go,
man, I
buddy.
bought that thing. I got home. Jerry says, "What are you doing with that?" I said, I bought it. We had a I guess some kind of sedan, Dodge sedan, Intrepid. Remember those?
Oh, I do.
Nice car.
I do.
I traded the Intrepid in for a lowrider Camaro.
Wow.
Yeah. So the worst colors for resale. I would have thought those might have been.
That's what I would have picked.
You
Yeah.
see, I don't know, black. And I've got that black Taurus that I love.
no.
And they said that that and white and gold. You ever driven a gold car?
No.
Yeah.
No. It, black on the right car looks amazing.
I think it looks well. I have that sparkle finish.
Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
It looks
Yeah,
really.
I like
it
that.
looks really
And
good.
like I say, white, it's just too hard to keep clean, and then gold, no thanks.
Yeah, I don't
the
know.
worst color in the world, though, is baby diarrhea brown. I see people driving those cars, and I'm like, oh, buddy.
You're lucky
What
you
were
didn't
you
say that
thinking?
first. That you stuck with the cranberry red.
There you go.
I would have called you Baby Diarrhea Brown for decades. Gee, all right. So those are the ones for cars. Man, when was the last time you bought a new car? Was this one you're driving new?
Stacy's car is new. We bought it. First new car we've ever bought in 43 years of marriage.
Okay, I think I've bought one brand new car.
Yeah.
And it was a Nissan Maxima.
Yeah.
And I thought, God, what am I doing? This car's $30,000.
Yeah.
I drove it for, forever.
Well, we're driving this one until we die. So, yeah.
This just came out. Kelly Blue Book put this out this week. You know what the average price is now for a new car?
I do.
This is
just an average car.
$50,100.
That's insane.
That was as of September, this past September.
Yeah.
$50,100 for a new car. Remember when that was, you can get a house for
My folks, I mean, we're talking 60 years ago, but bought a house in Independence, nice little place, $12,000.
Ah, my gosh, $50,000.
No,
what are the payments on something like that?
I don't know.
I mean, I always tried to pay my car off in 3 years, maybe 4.
Yeah.
Then they went to 5, and okay, I'm going to drive it for a while. But gosh, what would have? I don't know. You guys know? I don't have 50,000.
I have no idea.
50,000. I mean, like I said, that's for a house. Speaking of which, you ever walk into somebody's house and it smells weird, or even come home one day and think, but especially like if you go into somebody's house you've never been in, and it smells weird. It's like, what the hell is that? Wet dog or cat piss or something like that? This is the 6 in 10 Americans say a recurring smell in their own house has caused an argument or an awkward conversation. So did you ever come home one day and Stacy was cooking something and you were like, "Hey, honey, what you doing? What you make?" You didn't want to say anything, and it smelled like, a dumpster was on fire.
No, Stacy, never.
He ain't gonna make
No. But
yeah, right.
We've got these 2 little mini dachshunds, and I love them to death. But they stand on the pad and then take care of business with their back feet on the floor. So we got to clean that potty pad up constantly. But the smell I hate, and I'm so worried about it in my basement.
Liver and onions?
Mold, mildew, that nasty. You feel like you're in a dungeon.
And not only is it smell bad, it is bad.
Oh, it is bad. Yeah, totally.
You don't want that.
Nope.
Or it's like you don't want somebody coming in your house and go, catfish tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
exactly.
Yeah, we had that a week ago.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's like, man, that shit stays forever.
It does.
You can't get rid of that, and liver and onions. You can't.
No,
you
just
can't. You can't get rid of that. The reason I brought this up, of all companies and people, Lysol. Well, I guess you can see, but they did a study to see what were the worst smells, and almost 6 in 10 Americans admitted that they've had these smells, and I'm going to mention to you in a minute. Either that it was so bad they had to open a window, they had to put air freshener, they had to spray behind somebody's back or behind their rear end, and the worst smells were trash cans,
Yes, totally.
pet beds,
Yes.
rugs,
Yep.
and curtains.
Wow.
I don't know. Yeah,
I've never thought about it.
I
but
never thought about that either. I
you
mean,
know.
if your cats or dogs are rubbing up against the curtains,
Yeah,
that stuff's going to stay in there for a while.
Yeah, but we wash the dog beds once a week, and it's a chore. I don't think there's anything quite as offensive as walking into someone's house and you smell something bad.
Well,
And I don't ever want that to happen at our little abode.
okay, so the top four smells that Lysol figured out was bad breath. That smells like a hot garbage sandwich. That somebody just ate that. Funky cheese feet.
You could have gone all day without saying that.
Plain old hobo bo.
Yes.
And last but not least, ass. So if you got any of those smells in your house, either move or go buy Lysol.
There you go.
That's it. All right, Bill. So a couple of things for you. You are a sports collector. Your place is, I mean, it's like a museum. I mean, you really have some great stuff there. We talked earlier about the Gold Gloves, about Bobby and Mike Hill winning Gold Gloves for this year for the Royals. Do you have any Gold Gloves, or I know you got Silver Sluggers.
Yeah, I've got Silver Sluggers.
You got any Gold Gloves?
No. That's like I say, man. Those are personal because that's defense is so overlooked at times. And I always felt bad for Brian McRae because every year he finished second to Ken Griffey in Gold Gloves for center fielders. And, I mean, that's like, finishing second to Willie Mays.
That's tough, yeah.
But those are personal for those guys.
Okay, so you got no Gold Gloves and all that stuff that you got, right?
Yep.
Would you remember the guy, that artist, if you want to call him that duct taped that banana to that, and it sold for like $6.5 million?
And it was a real banana that was just going to spoil.
How the hell did we not think of that?
I don't know, man. There's so many things.
Done with
I
this
think.
banana. Oh, Bill, you got a piece of tape?
Yeah, I know.
So this same artist has come up with another one.
Oh, good.
His name is Mauricio Catalan. 18 karat, 223-pound golden toilet.
I heard that on the news.
Golden toilet, and it's in Sotheby's
yes.
right now. They're going to auction off this golden turlet, and I don't got the price of gold. What was it? $1,000 an ounce? $1,500 an ounce?
$50 million
for that.
For
that
the
stool?
opening bid for that toilet.
Get out of here!
I bet Trump buys it.
Oh, yeah, and puts it in the ballroom.
Oh, yeah.
And puts that bitch in the ballroom.
Puts it right in the middle so everybody can see it.
You know what I think it'd be? I would pay a little bit of money, because that's all I've got, to have a picture of you sitting on it reading the Examiner.
There you go.
I mean, I think that would just
We'll have to make that happen.
Oh, please,
Yes.
promise.
Yes,
promise.
yes.
Got another one that might be of interest to you, being that you're a Hall of Fame writer. Were you a fan of Dr. Seuss?
Love Dr. Seuss.
Okay.
That was the first books that we ever read to our kids were Cat in the Hat and his collection of he wanted to write a book where no word was longer than like 6 letters. And I can still recite Cat in the Hat. It's amazing.
Well, they just found you know about the manuscript. They
Yes.
found this new manuscript, and it's going to come out next year, next June, just in time for America's 250th anniversary,
Yeah,
because
which is
it's
so
I'm
cool.
pretty sure it's called "Sing the 50 United States."
Yes, it is.
Dr. Seuss.
Yes.
So they actually found the manuscript earlier this year. Buried underneath all kinds of stuff. I think he has a library in California somewhere,
Okay.
and he left a cover art sketch and everything, and they found all this stuff.
Oh my
and
gosh.
the original version of Cat in the Hat, who was actually called Who Shat in the Hat. So you make sure you get that.
Is that a stink that we could be worrying about in homes?
That and the golden toilet.
There you go.
All right. So, few health things here. Some good news. The United States is now in the United States. It's been known for too many fat people. Mm-hmm. You know, we've had an issue with obesity. Mm-hmm. Obesity rates are dropping now in the United States. I mean, you know, we talked about a few episodes ago about, you know, where you can get a deal for Ozempic and Wegovy at the fireworks stand in Independence. So it's obviously it's working. So the percent, it's down to 50% in women and just under 10% of men are using those drugs, and a big drop in obesity in the United States. And that's good news. Here's a little bit more good news. Life expectancy is now back to pre-COVID levels.
Oh, good.
Because in 2021, I believe, the leading cause of death in the United States was COVID. At least that's what we were told.
Yeah.
And now it's like 20th cause of death. You know, and at that time, the life expectancy was 76 for a woman and 71 for a man. And now it's 81 for females and 75.8. So let's just call it 76 for men. The combined average, 78. So that's a pretty good thing.
That's great. Yeah, that's good to hear.
On the other hand, people might actually reach their mental and emotional peak at what age, you think?
28.
Maybe for you, 60.
Really?
Yeah, 60.
Oh. So I guess you can teach an old dog new tricks.
I guess so. Physical strength declines in your mid-20s.
Okay. Intelligence,
personality, emotional intelligence, decision-making all peak at around 60. So
interesting.
Yeah, and that was published in the Journal of Intelligence by two guys in their 30s. so it's all said and done for us right now.
That's right, Betty.
It's 60. Okay, so time now for our two special guests we have on the show today. One is the return of the man we had on our last episode, Bill Corum, who left an amazing impression on not only us, but all of our viewers. Yeah. And he is bringing a guest in with him today, a fellow known as the Ironman. His name is John Cantrell. It's the return of one of KC's most notorious criminals who received the ultimate pardon. Our Bill Corum is back today. But Bill brings a special guest who will share his story of his powerful journey from addiction in prison to becoming a current heavyweight boxing champion and a champion of saving others through the power of faith and transformation. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bill Corum and John the Iron Man Cantrell are here today. Let me start with you, Bill. You called me right after your episode with us, which, by the way, is probably the most watched episodes that we've done on Bill and Tony's Excellent Adventure. And you told me about John. I'm going to have you start about where your and I conversation started and why John's sitting here in the middle today.
Well, I just told you, Tony, that you ought to have John on the show. That we had a pretty amazing story of how we met. And, you know, when John was in prison, he read my book. And for years and years, he wanted to meet me, didn't know if we ever would meet. I had people 3-4 years ago saying, you want to meet John Cantrell? He'd like to meet you. And I'm like, where's he at? He's in Topeka. Well, let's go to Topeka. Never happened. And then John had a fight probably 9 weeks ago or so, 8-9 weeks ago, something like that. And I got to go to that fight, and I got to meet him there at the fight. And God did something. We just knit our hearts together, and we've been close together ever since. So I knew that you needed to have him on your program.
Well, and we've gotten to chat before the show today, and we've done our homework about John. And John, you are a fascinating human being. You're only because he's probably double your age, but you're getting in that league with him too.
Not even close.
Not even remotely close. Well, I'm sure glad you're sitting between us because I know he can still pop me one.
I've actually got grandsons older than John.
And we're talking about. I'd mentioned in the introduction a current heavyweight boxing champ. Now I'm serious. For everybody watching this is a man that holds 3 belts right now. And we're not talking about, the Moose Lodge belt. We're talking about the Missouri heavyweight champion, the Kansas heavyweight champion, the American Boxing Organization heavyweight champ. Champ, you are the man, brother.
All glory, praise, honor to God, my friend.
And you have, before we get into your story, you have another match coming up next month where you can not only win and defend your belts, but win another belt, but win 2 more belts. Please tell our audience about that.
So, yeah, I'll be fighting for the North American Jaguar title for the American Boxing Organization. That's their major title. And then I will also be fighting for the IBF Southern American heavyweight title. So that'll be my first major title. So the 4 majors are the IBF, the WBA, the WBO, and the WBC. So if I win this fight, it'll rank me in the top 20 in the world, and I'll have a direct line to Alexander Usyk, who's my boxing hero. I believe he's one of the, if not the greatest fighter in history.
And I don't know if I've ever heard, Bill, you've written a lot of stories and you've covered boxing. Who holds 5 titles at the same time?
I mean, you're talking about the best of the best. I mean, the Roy Jones Juniors, the people like that who, I just met John a couple hours ago, and not all heroes wear capes. I mean, this guy is. I've never been as impressed. Well, maybe except the first time I met Bill Corum.
Yeah.
I mean, I went home and told my wife I've met my new best friend. Their story is amazing. Redemption, love, faith. It blows my mind. I mean, this is going to be a show. While Tony and I are participating in it, I can't wait till our producer, Tony, gets it all put together, because I'm just going to put it on rewind and just watch it 100 times, because this is going to be special.
Well, John, let's get into that story. Your journey from addiction and prison to becoming a heavyweight boxing champion. I mean, this is a journey that obviously doesn't happen overnight, but you had so many obstacles and just bad things that happened to you, similar to Bill over there, a near-death experience. You found redemption through Christ and began a boxing career that's earned you the title of Ironman. As our Bill said, this is a story of transformation, overcoming personal demons. Your struggles with addiction early in life. Why don't we start there?
So unfortunately, I didn't struggle with addiction and alcoholism. Those things were never my problem.
Okay.
They were my solution. They were the solution to my John problem.
I get it.
I didn't know who I was. I didn't know why I was here. I didn't know what my purpose was. And I thought that through knowledge and wisdom and books and education and life experience that I could figure that out. And kind of like Bill says, Bill's 200 miles an hour. I've always said I'm 150 miles an hour, wherever I'm going, whether it's good or bad. But I'm all in.
I mentioned earlier too, you had a near-death experience.
Yes, sir.
Share that with the audience if you don't mind.
Well, we'll skip to that. So, graduated from college, Emporia State Teachers College, history, political science degree. Was going to be a high school history teacher that taught high school kids that Christianity was a crutch for weak-minded people who couldn't solve their own problems. And apparently God had other plans. So I go through, my addiction had started before college while I was in high school, my alcoholism and addiction, and then they just carried through. And after college, I didn't go into teaching, and the drugs just completely took over my life and took me to, horrible places where, you wouldn't wish upon anybody. So I'm at the end of that run, and I get sober. I move away and I get sober in Florida, and I'm introduced to the idea of a higher power in Alcoholics Anonymous.
AA.
Yes, sir.
Well, Bill and I are both very active participants in Al-Anon.
Fabulous
In
group.
fact, I was just chosen in a leadership position for Al-Anon, and Bill, and that's how he and I met.
Yeah, any
We've
listeners.
become best
yeah.
friends through Al-Anon.
Yeah, any listeners out there, man, if you've got somebody struggling with addiction or alcoholism, Al-Anon is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful group. It did so much for my parents, so much for my wife during my relapse. Wonderful group.
We know, and I'm glad you brought it up.
Well, and I don't want to interrupt, but my youngest son, recovering addict, the saddest conversation I ever had with him during the height of his addiction was he said, "I take drugs to feel normal."
Yeah. So it's really funny. So if you look at your baseline, right, this is where you feel on a normal basis. This is your normal. When you take drugs, you shoot way up and then you drop way below. Yep. And then you get to a point when you're doing it every day to where you take drugs and you're just getting up to normal. And then you keep going and then you're not even getting up to normal and you have to take more and more and more just to feel normal.
Yeah.
So I'd gotten sober, I'd come home. U.S. Marshals were waiting on me for me when I got home. And I figure out that I'm getting ready to go do time in federal prison for distribution of methamphetamine, cocaine, and heroin. So I couldn't get sober. I knew that my life was over. So I attempted suicide via vehicular car accident. And, God carried me through it. It was, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like nobody walks away from the accident that I was in.
We read the story prior to this, and it's how?
Yeah, I mean everything in the car went out the windows except for me.
Yeah.
Everything went out the windows except for me.
You intentionally didn't have your seatbelt on.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Yep. Intentionally,
Yeah,
because he knew he'd go out the window. Right.
Yeah. You're beaten to a point where, you're just tired of hurting the people around you, and you're tired of being a disappointment to your family and to your friends, and you can't quit no matter what. Every time it's like the devil won't let you go. You every time you try to get away, he just pulls you back in. And I just thought that was my life, and I thought, it's so selfish. Suicide is so selfish. All I was thinking that I was doing everybody else a favor. And then I look at friends of mine who have succeeded at suicide. You look at the destruction that it causes to their family members and their friends and their siblings and their parents, and it's just horrible, horrible, horrible. So I survive. God literally casts a hedge of protection around me through that car accident. And I get home and, I walk into my house, and man, my poor mother, I was physically killing my mom with how much she hurt. Oh, I had the best parents in the world. They knew my potential. They knew what I could do. They knew what kind of person I could be, and they're just, you're just watching helplessly as someone that you love with your whole heart is just destroying themselves.
And John, I was going to ask you that because I asked Bill the same question. Did you have good parents growing up?
Oh, the best, man.
And that's what he said.
Yeah, if there was any amount of love that could have prevented me from going down the path that I went down, I had 10 times more than I needed.
Yeah.
But that's just, I was an upper middle class white kid. This isn't just a poor man's disease it affects everybody indiscriminately.
There's no discrimination.
It doesn't matter what color, what race, what religion. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
It gets you.
Yes.
So I remember my dad standing up, and my dad was my God before I had God. He's the one who taught me honesty and integrity and being a man of your word and hard work and all these other things. Things that nobody can live by all the time, though, right? So I thought every time that I made a poor decision, or every time that I chose to let sin enter my life, right? And we choose sin sometimes. Yeah. I thought that I just wasn't a good person and that I deserved what I was what I got. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Now that I'm a Christian, I do know that I deserved what I got. Yeah. So I go into my bedroom and I see that my parents are just, I'm just destroying them. And I get down on my hands and knees and I'm just, sobbing. My heart's broken, my soul's broken, and every part of my being wants to die. but I was also carried something away from that wreck with me, right? I could tell something was different because there's no way I walk away from that.
Yeah.
So I cry out and I'm just like, I don't know what's out there, but if there is a God or if there's something more, like now's the time. And now I knew that there was something more because I had seen evil. I'd seen things that you could not explain in the real world when I was going through the other stuff. And so I knew that there was evil out there. So I was really, really hoping that there was good too. And man, that was the moment that Jesus Christ chose to reveal himself to me. I said, if there's a God, now's the time. And I felt like somebody'd wrapped a warm blanket around me. And all I heard was a voice tell me, everything's going to be okay. And all of a sudden, for the first time in my life, I had peace.
That's exactly what Bill said during our interview. You remember that?
Oh, absolutely.
That gives me chills because you guys from decades apart having these experiences. And the one thing Bill said, he goes, what were the three things, Bill, that you said that you wanted and you did achieve?
Money, power, and influence.
But the one thing that you didn't get until that day you were saved was?
Peace.
And the same thing that John is saying now, too.
Yeah, I mean, I went from a point where I had all the drugs in the world, all the money in the world, all the girls in the world, all the crap.
Yeah.
All the things, right? All the things that we think will make us happy. Because you think that, the world tells us that the point of life is to be happy. Mm-hmm. It's not. Oh. The point of life is contentment. Yes. You can't, happiness isn't a choice, right? You can't always choose to be happy. There's mornings that you wake up when nothing bad happens and you're just not happy. Yeah. Right? But you choose contentment. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to give you a definition of contentment that you probably never heard.
Okay. And
I'm quoting Tracy Wild Pace, the author of The Sacred Art of Contentment. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Pastor Trace said, contentment is not having the things you want. It's wanting the things you have.
Not having the things you want, wanting the things you have.
Wanting the things you have. And all of a sudden I had peace. Peace is the goal. Peace is what we want. And what's funny? It's because I wanted the same thing that the three things that Bill wanted were the exact same things that I wanted.
Yeah.
And it's not until, I tell people this, and it's when, every time I walk into prison, one of the first things I say is the first time I was ever free in my life was behind federal prison bars. And it was because I had a relationship with Jesus Christ.
How long did you spend behind those bars?
3 years.
So let's talk now about the journey from those 3 years to the boxing career.
Okay, so I get home and the whole time I'm down, I'm praying, I'm saying, because I went through a series of bad relationships, and I was the girls that I was surrounding myself with were very well connected to the organizations that
I get it.
So I went through a series of really bad relationships. And it's like they had my number, man. They knew exactly what to do, what to say to keep me coming back, man. They were voodooing me or something. Yeah. So I prayed. I said, God, man, if you just put a good woman in my life, you've given me freedom, you've given me peace, and in one of the harshest, coldest, loneliest places on earth, right? I'm finally free because I've got you. You've given me freedom. Now I'm saying, okay, when I get home, if I want to continue to live a successful life, like, God, please bless me with a good woman. Like, just put a good woman in my life and I can do anything. I can do anything. So my parents, and they put several thousand miles on their car driving to Forest City to see me. I mean, every other weekend they came up and they'd bring my dog, my old red lab Pumpkin, and Pumpkin would sit in the car. But it was comforting just knowing that my dog was, within a couple 100 yards of me when I was in the visitation room. So they'd drive up and bring my dog, and so I finished RDAP. And if you finish RDAP, you get to go home. You get a year off your sentence, and you're guaranteed 6 months of halfway house. So I got to go home 18 months early. So they picked me up September 21st of 2016. And I can remember right before they told me I was going home praying, like, God, if I'm not ready to go home, don't send me home yet. Mm-hmm. I would rather stay here and be with you than to go home and be who I was. Right. So I said my prayer about my God put in Wonder Woman in my life, and my parents came and picked me up September 21st of 2016 in Forest City. And they brought all my favorite foods. My dad had made filet mignon and brought big Gulf shrimp, and Mom brought pecan and rhubarb pie and all the good stuff that I hadn't had for so long. And they brought my dog Pumpkin so we could hang out and all that on the ride home. So we pulled into the halfway house, the federal halfway house at 25th in California. I opened the car door, I stepped out, and the first person I met, I shook my wife's hand. She was the first person I met when I got out. Yes, sir. She was the first person I met.
Well, you got that prayer answered pretty quick.
I mean, immediately. It's almost like God knew how weak of a man I was.
But
He said,
tell him what she did, John. What was her job there?
So she was doing her internship her senior year at Washburn at the halfway house. So she was so she double majored in criminal justice and sociology, and because she had a heart for prison reformation. So, so I can remember telling my dad, I was like, Dad, that's the girl. Like, I'm going to marry that girl someday. And my dad's like, son, why don't we worry about getting a job? That girl is so far out of your league. Like, there's no way. A year later, I married her.
Her name's Taylor.
Taylor, the director.
The director.
She is, man. She's the boss. Big boss.
So you guys got married in 2017?
2017.
Yep. And you had a child, and that too became an obstacle you had to get over.
So fun story. I celebrated a month after I celebrated 5 years of sobriety. Right, Taylor. So it's so funny. Taylor had always told me, like, when we'd gotten together, like, I don't need no damn man. I have no interest in being married. I have no interest in having kids. It's not my life. Like, I have goals. I'm going to go to law school. I'm going to do these things. This is what I'm doing. And, when I came into her life, like, it completely changed her trajectory. All of a sudden.
You're right.
Right. But she still wasn't ready to have kids yet, and I was. So I told her, and I can remember telling her when we first got together, I was like, listen, if I ever drink or use dope, you need to get away from me as fast as you possibly can, because I will destroy us both, and I will make it your fault.
Yep.
And that's exactly what I did. So she said, I said, either I want to have kids or I want to have fun. And she says, well, what do you mean have fun? And I'm like, well, I'd like to have a drink every once in a while. And she's like, well, and she'd seen me. Anything I ever said I was going to do, she'd watched me do. I start off at this job as a temp making $9 an hour. A year and a half later, I'm the senior director of project management and estimation. For a $50 million company, making six figures, doing well. So anything I'd ever said I was going to do, I did. So, of course, she thinks, oh, yeah, he's probably got it whooped. So that lasted for maybe a month of going out and just having a drink, and then it was multiple drinks, and then there was that one time that always comes when you have one too many and your judgment's down, and it's like, I don't really feel like turning the party off yet. Let's do something to stay up a little later and turn the volume a little louder. So I relapsed, and I did exactly what I said I was going to do. I made everything her fault. I actually had her believing. I was so manipulative and deceitful that, like, I had her believing that it was all her fault.
And how long into the marriage was that?
We just had our first anniversary.
Oh, wow.
Just had our first anniversary. It was horrible. It was really horrible. Wow. I took everything. She left to go run an errand, and I took everything that she owned in the house and put it in the driveway. I changed the locks, and then I went to Florida for a vacation by myself.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I,
How long did that vacation last?
6 months.
Yeah. I had a hunch it wasn't 2 weeks.
Yeah. No, so I came home, and I was just a huge piece of crap. I'd hidden my drug use from my family and my friends and my coworkers and everybody else. And it was horrible. It was really horrible. I was running around cheating on my wife, just, I was ready to file for divorce. I thought, and I truly believed in my mind that she was at fault. In addicts' minds, you talk about addiction and alcoholics, everything is always somebody else's fault. Yeah. But in their minds at that time, it is.
They believe that.
And I'm thinking to myself, like, I told this woman, like, if I ever do this, like, that I am, like, what I'm going to do. She knew this. Why would she allow me to do this? Why would she let me do this? Yeah. As if she could force a drink or a drug down my throat.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But in my mind, I believe that, and she wasn't a Christian when we'd met. She wasn't a Christian when we got married. So now we switch over to her side. So I kick her out. She gets an apartment a couple miles away, and she's so broken because I was her everything. I was everything to her. And she just could not believe that she'd lost me. And I said, I had her believing that this was all her fault. So she had nowhere to turn, and she opened the book. And what eventually pulled me out of my relapse is she called me one day and she invited me to go to church. And then it was all of a sudden like the switch flipped and the screen that the enemy had in front of over my eyes had been removed. And I just realized what a piece of crap I'd been and how I was so wrong. Like the good book tells us, you can't sit at both tables, right? You can't sit at God's table and sit at Satan's table. No. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I know the word. If she was evil and her job was to deter me from God's plan in my life, she wouldn't be inviting me to go to church, right? So all of a sudden that paradox was broken.
Yeah, it was gone.
It was gone. And I just realized how horrible I'd been and all the stuff that I'd done. And I'm thinking to myself, how could I have done this? I ruined the best gift that God has ever given me. He gave me exactly what I asked for and I spat it out, and just horrible. So she invited me to go to church and we went to church. I got high one more time after that. And then we had our come to Jesus moment. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the 5th step, but basically you go through and you go through, the first thing you do is you go through and you talk about all the wrongs that have been done to you.
Right.
And then you go through and you talk about all the wrongs you've done to other people.
You're making amends with others.
Right. Well, you get to amends. You get to amends, but you make your list. You make your list, and then you sit down with your sponsor, and you give your sponsor the list, and the sponsor looks at the list, and then he hands it back to you, and he says, you forgot one thing. And generally, and that's everybody. Everybody has that one thing that they're not going to talk about, that they're going to go to the grave with. Yeah. Generally speaking, 99% of the time, it's something sexual in nature that happened when you were young or whatever. I decided in that moment that I was all lied out. I didn't have one lie left in me. And I told my wife everything that I'd done, everybody that I'd slept with, every time that I'd lied about getting high, and all the way back to like my dirty, filthy rags of my 5th step about the horrible things that I'd done when I was younger that I was for sure I was going to hell for, right? We're only as healthy as our deepest, darkest secrets. And I made the decision right then that whether it would ruin me or not, I was going to tell my wife. And somehow, miraculously, when for sure she should have turned her back and walked away from me and never talked to me again, she loved me more for it.
John, with dealing with my son who's been an addict 22 years, lying came so easy for him. Yep. I never knew when to believe him. I never believed him. If he would say the sky's green, I'd say, I don't think so. I think it's blue. And he goes, no, it's green. I mean, he believed it. When he'd make. How did you get out of that trap? To where was it this moment of crystal clear thinking when you did tell your wife everything?
No, so it started in, it started in federal prison with RDAP, man. That's such a good program. I highly recommend RDAP. In fact, I'm working on getting it into, I'm trying to talk to Secretary Zmuda about getting it into Kansas State prisons, and talking to Brian Cole and Shawnee County Department of Corrections about making it bite-sized so that we can do it in the jail. But you really go through and you look at your character defects, and you look at the things that kept you from being unsuccessful. You know, so many people don't know why they're unsuccessful, or why they're unlucky, or why relationships just don't work out, or friendships, or jobs, or whatever. And they don't understand why, because these things are in their blind spots. They don't see that they're really there. So I had gone through that, and I put the work in, right? I humbled myself, which was incredibly hard for somebody with an ego as big as guys like me and Bill. You know, our egos, you got to, I can't, that's why I married Taylor. She's my bubble popper. You know, every time my head starts getting big and I start floating away, she comes with her slingshot. Cow!
Come back to earth.
Right. Come on. Let's go.
Yeah.
But when you get back on the drugs, you go right back to the day that you quit, mental in your mentality.
Yep.
So I was just lied out, man. You know, it's, and this is the problem. You know, I'm sure you guys have heard this if you've been around the groups long enough. There's nothing worse than a head full of AA and a belly full of liquor, or there's nothing worse than a head full of Bible and an arm full of dope.
Yeah.
You know, because then you've got that guilt, right? Because you know what you're supposed to be doing. You've done it before. You know that this is the right route, and you know that it's going to be hard work to get back to that. But the addiction won't let you go, right? So you've got that guilt inside, knowing that you're doing the wrong thing. You don't get the excuse of, oh, I tried it once, I got addicted, and now I'm stuck, right? Like, I've already been through this. Like, I gave up 5 years of sobriety. I gave up 5 years of sobriety. You know, how am I ever going to come back from this? How can I can't, you know, I can tell people that I slipped. I can't let anybody know that I've fallen back into full addiction, and I'm, you know, going through a 7 of meth a day. You know, what? And I just, you know, but you know, as soon as it's the Spirit, it's trust in the Spirit. You know, Taylor trusted the Spirit to invite me back to church and to forgive me for everything, and to work on our relationship, and to bring me back in, and to not let me go when she had every reason in the world to. So it was the scariest thing I'd ever done, telling her all that stuff, but it also made our relationship what it is. And you know what's funny? So here's the deal, guys. If I wouldn't have gone through that, if we would not have gone through that together and become battle-hardened, and realized that even in the most pressure, horrible situations, we had each other's back, we wouldn't have been ready for the big one that came next.
And that was with Cooper.
So,
John, before you go, before you tell this story, was that the beginning of you finding peace?
So I'd found it, and then temptation and forgetfulness, right? Because humans are forgetful people. As soon as Moses led the Egyptians, you know, the plagues parted the seas. They walked through. They're free. They're, you know, Salah, praise God. They're out in the desert for a week.
Yeah.
What God? Turn us around. Take us back. You know, take us back to Egypt. Put the chains back on us. You know, we're forgetful people. We're forgetful people. We forget the incredible miracles that God does in our lives. And I just like anything, if you don't work at it, you forget. That's why they tell you when you're working a program, you know, keep going. You know, families that pray together stay together. When I'm at meetings, I'm not drinking. Every day that I go to a meeting, I don't take a drink. Every day that I go to a meeting, I don't hit a pipe. Every day that I go to a meeting, I don't put a needle in my arm.
We've seen that.
Have we ever?
You know, they told me once upon a time, if you really want to get sober, do 90 meetings in 90 days. I did 204 meetings in 90 days. And guess what? I finally got 90 days.
Yeah.
I'd never been able to get more than a month. But I went to 2-3 meetings a day for 90 days in a row, and guess what? I got it.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, Taylor and I, man, when that had happened, all of a sudden our relationship just solidified, and we rebuilt with Jesus Christ as the cornerstone of our marriage. And everything changed. We started going to church together. We started reading the Bible together. We started praying together every night. We started doing couples devotionals and all these other things. And man, we were on it. We were just on it. And we were, you know, we're both making great money. You know, we just bought the house before I had my relapse, our new forever home. And so everything's going great. So we go out to eat with a couple, and they're like, man, I've tried this. It was my friend's wife, my friend that I worked with's wife. Man, I've been trying to pass the nursing exam and I just can't pass it. So we all went out and we prayed over her. We all laid hands on her and prayed on her while we were there. The next week, she passed the test. So they're like, you know what? We know that you guys have been trying to conceive.
Yeah.
We're going to pray for you. We're going to put hands on you guys and pray for you. We did that on Sunday. On Wednesday, Taylor was pregnant. We found out Taylor was pregnant. So the world shuts down 2019.
Yeah.
And we all go home. And man, we had a blast. We had a blast. I'm able to call and do all my stuff, all my project management, manage all my projects, all my steel stuff from the computer. And I can I trust my guys, all the welders and all my managers and supervisors that I had, I could trust them. So I knew that they were doing what they needed to do. As long as I did what I needed to do and gave them the tools they needed to do what they needed to do, we were rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
And Taylor had been working from home. She works for the sentencing department for the Kansas Department of Corrections.
Oh boy.
So we had a good time. We had a good time every day. Whatever Taylor wanted to eat, I'd order for her, and we had more money than we knew what to do with. So it's not like we just whatever we wanted to do whenever we wanted to do it, we did it. So, I put on the COVID 45 and then I put on the sympathy 65.
Yeah.
And we both got big. We were both real big. There was a day where Taylor asked me if I'd get her Sonic for breakfast. I went and got her Sonic for breakfast. Then we came home and then we sat around and did our work and did our stuff. And then she's like, "Hey, can we get Sonic for lunch?" So I went and got her Sonic for lunch. 3 hours later,
no.
Hey, what do you think about Sonic for dinner?
Well, you guys were living it up.
Oh yeah, no, we were doing it. We were doing it. Supersonic double cheeseburger, large tots, Route 44 cherry limeade.
There you go.
Man.
Yeah. So we were both big. We were real big.
How big?
I got up to 315
No
pounds.
way. Come
315 pounds. I was a monster. I was big.
Whoa.
So we have a perfect pregnancy. And I didn't pray that he would be an athlete like me.
Yeah.
I didn't pray that he'd be a brain and a genius like his mom.
Yeah.
The only thing I asked God for was that he would have a relationship with Christ that it took me 20 some odd years to find from day one. That's all I wanted. I wanted him to have a relationship with Jesus because I knew if he had that he was going to be okay no matter what. So I read the New Testament. Like, I'm connected to this kid from day one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I start reading the Bible every day to my wife's stomach. I read the entire New Testament. I read the first 3 Harry Potter books. We read the Lord of the Rings series. I wanted this kid to know, they say that they can hear your voice, and that's how how they connect with you when they're, in the womb. So, and I wanted to have, I wanted him to know me, because all I'd ever really wanted to be was a dad. I wanted to be a good dad like my dad was to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we go through this perfect pregnancy. Like, everything is perfect. All the way to the very end, right? So Wednesday, she goes to her last appointment, and the doctor's like, "You've had a perfect pregnancy. You guys are going to have you guys are going to be in and out. We went 40 weeks plus 3 days. So she hit her due date, and we went 3 days after. Her due date was that Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And we went into the hospital for a scheduled induction, and they start strapping my wife's up. And we'd noticed like he hadn't been moving around as much. In the old wives' tale, they say, "Oh, well, they go quiet when they're getting ready to be born. That means they're getting ready."
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not really how it works. So they start strapping my wife up to the fetal heart monitor and all the other stuff, and they're like, "Oh, there might be a problem. There's late D cells after every contraction. His heart rate's dropping."
Yeah.
So we, right then in that moment is when all of a sudden you get that sick feeling in the pit of your stomach, like your world is about to come to an end. So they took my wife down, and they told us we were going to have a C-section. And they stuffed me into one of those little paper suits that, only goes down to your shins and I sat down next to my wife, and I was holding her hand, and they cut my wife, and they had her push, and they pulled my son out, and they held him up, and they held up this huge 9.5 pound, beautiful, beautiful boy. And I hadn't named him yet. I hadn't given him a name yet. I wanted a John Jr. My wife refused to name our son John. She did not want a junior. Yeah. So I was like, okay, this is what we'll do. You'll have the baby. They'll hand him to me. I'll hold him up. God will give me the name. I'll name him. He'll have his name. I'll name him John.
Of course.
I'll name him John.
And it happened that quick.
Right.
Yeah.
So they pull him out and they hold him up, and I see him, and he's just beautiful, but his skin is really brown, and he's not crying. Oh. So they take him, and I stay with my wife because she's going to have a heart attack. She is so worried, and she's just got the biggest heart of anybody in the world. So the nurse that was standing by us comes around they take him behind this big partition, and the nurse comes around and says, "Mr. Cantrell, we need you to come with us." And I get up, and I go with her, and I walk around the partition, and I see this little Nepalese doctor, and he's got my son's head in one hand and his chest in the other. Oh. And he's doing this. And she says, "Mr. Cantrell, your son was stillborn."
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, not breathing, no heartbeat. Oh. And I thought, what had led me to my suicide attempt was a lot of horror and a lot of really bad things. Enough bad and enough horror and enough tragedy for me to want to take my own life, right? That did not hold a candle to the horror that I was feeling in that moment. And I'm thinking to myself, like, how am I gonna, what am I gonna do? I just got his room ready. I just painted his wall. Like, I got his Toy Story stuff I picked out. Like, so I do the only thing that any good father would do in that moment. I fall down on my hands and knees, and I smash my face to the OR room floor as hard as I possibly can to try to humble myself before God as much as I can. And I just start begging. And it's basically, God, listen, you have done so many things for me. You've saved me. You've freed me. You've given me salvation when I deserve hell and death. Please don't send me home with an empty car seat. If you'll do this for me, I will dedicate the entire rest of my life to serving you and making sure that everybody I bump into knows who you are and what you did for me. And then Jesus Christ rose my son from the dead like Lazarus. They got a pulse. So they immediately took him over into the little rooms that they have in the NICU. And, I didn't even get to see him really. And they'd taken Taylor because she'd started losing a lot of blood. So they had to do something to help her. And I went with him, and I'm standing outside this room, and I'm looking through a big glass window. And there's more doctors and nurses and machines, and they're intubating him, and they're, doing all this stuff, and they're working on him. And it's just the absolute worst thing I'd ever experienced in my entire life. It was horrible. And I'm out there, and I'm just praying and praying and praying, and this little nurse is standing next to me, and we're both just sobbing, and we're both falling apart together. And the charge nurse comes out, and she says, "Mr. Cantrell, we need to order meds, and we need to get orders in for your son. We need a name." And guys, to my everlasting shame, I did not want to give him a name because it would have made it real. And so that was my first thought, was I don't want to give him a name. And then my second thought was there's a bar within 4 blocks of here that I could walk to, and I could drink until this never happened. It was funny, sometimes you have moments in life where a second lasts for an eternity. And then there's other times where it seems like an eternity lasts for a second. So I was in that moment where, that moment seemed like it went on forever. And I had to make a decision. So I said, John. And the nurse said, no, not your name. What's his name? And I'm thinking to myself, man, if I name this kid John and he doesn't make it or makes it, my wife is going to kill me.
Oh, yeah.
So I just blurt out, Cooper. And she looks at me and she's like, what? And I'm like, his name's Cooper, Cooper Lee. She's like, Cooper Lee it is. Wrote it down, took off, went and got his meds. And then I just fell back down, and I'm just like, oh God, please don't let this little boy die. Please. Like, after everything that I just put my wife through with the relapse and her forgiving me and her taking me back and all these other things, like, there's no way that I can go and tell this woman that we're getting ready to go home with an empty car seat. There's no way. And the little nurse that was with me could see that things were escalating poorly for me. And she said, Mr. Cantrell, there's a waiting room with food and drinks, and it's just quiet. And if you want to go in there and pray and take a moment, you can. So I walked over into the waiting room, and I'm just sobbing and just falling apart and just begging God, please, 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 God, I'll do anything. Please don't let my son die. Sometimes God pokes you to get your attention. And God poked me, and he spurred me to look over at the wall. So I look over at the wall, and I see these little metal clips, and they're holding these little 3x5 index cards. And they're all along the wall, all the way around the room. Mm-hmm. There's one in particular that stands out. So I walk over there, and I read the index card. And so these cards are notes that parents write their kids when they're in the NICU. And I read it, and it said, so-and-so, we just want you to know that no matter what happens, we love you. We're so proud of you. And we're praying for you. And then I walk down, and I see the same handwriting and the same names. And it says, so-and-so, you're doing so good. Your mother and I are so proud of you. You've come so far. God's answering our prayers. We're so excited, with how well you're doing. Your grandma and grandpa say they love you. And then you go down a little bit further, and it's the last note, and it's, today's the day we get to take you home. And guys, in that moment, I just made the decision that whether Cooper lived for a day, a week, a month, a year, or 100 years, no matter what it looked like, I was going to be the best damn dad to that kid that any dad could ever be. And that I was his father and he was my son. And I made the decision that we were going to leave that hospital and we were going to take him home. And then everything just got worse. So they told me that they'd stabilized him, and I went up to tell my wife, hey, we're going to get to go down and see him. And my wife just wanted to know how he was doing, and I couldn't tell her. I was like, they're working on him. They're trying, they're all doing their best to help him. They're working on him. So I stayed up there with my wife, and they were like, okay, we've got him stabilized. You guys can come down and see him. And, I had to wheel my wife down in a wheelchair. And when we got down there, they told us that he just started having a 45-minute long seizure, and that the seizures were destroying his brain. So they decided they were going to try like an experimental treatment where it's called hypothermia treatment. He was a head cooling baby, where they put him on a cooling pad and they lower his body temperature, and that buys them time, right? Because cold slows down the metabolic process. It slows the heartbeat. It slows the brain function. It slows everything down. And they said, we're going to try the cooling. It's a 72-hour process. We're going to try this and see how it goes. And, my wife just broke her. It just broke her hearing that. So we start the treatment, and on paper, this kid's dead. He's dead. His blood gas is nothing. He's got his score is 1. I think it's APGAR or something like that. His APGAR score is 1. And he's still having seizures, even on the hypothermia treatment. Every 3 hours, he's having a 45-minute long seizure, 30 to 45-minute long seizure. And we're talking to, one of the best neurologists in the Midwest, who's a real Mensa genius. Mm-hmm. And he's telling us, like, guys, this is not good. This is real bad. This is real bad. So he had suffocated in the womb sometime starting Wednesday. The placenta had lost oxygen, and he just suffocated. And he'd lost 50% of his brain during that period. He was almost basically brain dead. And now the head cooling and the seizures, and they're talking about severe cerebral palsy, like he'll never walk with the brain damage he has. And they're doing scans of his brain and of his body and all these things like multiple times a day, every day, and it's real bad. Universal brain damage all over, but the majority of the areas that were affected were his, prefrontal cortex, which is where reasoning happens, and then in the back where vision and hearing are. And there was nothing wrong with his eyes or ears; it was all brain, right? So they bring him. They basically start telling us this is what we need for him to survive. We need this to happen. We need him to go to the bathroom. We need this medicine to kick in. We're at 1 day old, they started my son on morphine because he was in so much pain from the lactic acid buildup across his body, like the most excruciating pain you could ever imagine at day 1. But they told us, they made us a laundry list of things that needed to happen for him to survive. And we didn't know what to do. It was our first time being parents. My parents couldn't be there. Yeah. Nobody could be there. It's COVID. The world is shut down. We're all alone. So I did the only thing I could think of to ask for prayer, and I made a post on Facebook. And that's when the magic started. So I asked for prayers, and I said, these are the things we need you to pray for. I literally took the doctor's laundry list. I put it on Facebook and put it out. It went internationally viral, and people all over the world were praying for our son. And that's when it started happening. The doctor would bring us the list, tell us what we needed to pray for. I'd put it out. Everybody would pray for it. The doctor would come back within an hour or two and tell us that our prayers had been answered. Guys, this happened for 5 weeks every day. 5 times in the first 7 days we were there, they asked us how we wanted to say goodbye to our son. The morphine had made his heart rate drop to 19 beats a minute. 19 beats a minute. That's once every 2 seconds. Once every 2 seconds was his heartbeat, right? They had to take him off. And then they were so worried when they took him off of morphine that he was going to die from the pain because he was so weak and he'd taken such a hard hit. And this little dude, he's just the toughest little dude in the world, man. He made it. He made it. and we were taking Keppra, and but they told us like he's never going to walk, he's never going to talk, like he's going to be completely blind, he's going to be completely deaf, severe cerebral palsy, severe epilepsy, like the seizures are going to continue to damage his brain, like whatever short time this kid lives is going to be a miserable time for him. And they basically assumed that he was going to be in a vegetative state for the rest of his life. So we get, we watch the miracles happen, and then we get, to a point where we get to take this kid home. And that was the dream, and I, once again, I'm still under the impression, like, I don't care if this kid only lives a month. I knew that we were going to get to take him home. So we take him home, and we're home for 3 or 4 days, and then all of a sudden he gets these huge calcium. Well, we didn't know they were calcium at the time. Yeah. He gets these huge, like nodules, these huge boils all over his body.
Oh no!
And we take him in, and he's now one of my dearest friends, Fuad Medlich. It was like, it's calcium. They're calcium deposits. When your body goes through a hit like that at birth, the body's response is to produce calcium, right, to make it hard. And he'd taken such a huge hit, he got calcititis or whatever it's called. But it's like a 1 in a billion chance, and of course this kid gets it.
He got it, yeah.
So then we were up on our way to Children's Mercy. And we spent 2 weeks at Children's Mercy, and he went through bisphosphonate infusions, which are basically like chemo.
Yeah.
It's poison. It's poison. And just, watching these guys stick this kid who had no veins, and it took them 4 or 5 tries to get him. I mean, it was just absolutely miserable. But he made it. He made it again. And we got him home. And once we got home, I'm just elated that this kid is alive. And once again, I don't know what his life's going to look like. And I'm thinking to myself, so my last year in prison, I started training for an Ironman competition. I read this book called Spartan Up, and I was like, you know what? I think there's a direct correlation between like physical fitness and mental health, right? Mm-hmm. And my dream when I was a kid was to be a professional fighter. So I've got this sick kid, and I'm thinking to myself, everything in life is going to be hard for this kid. Everything is going to be a challenge. Everything that we take for granted is going to be challenging to this kid. How am I supposed to tell him that through resilience and mental toughness and grit and discipline and hard work and faith in Jesus Christ that you can live your dreams and do anything, when I hadn't even done it myself? So 2 things happened. Number 1, I applied for seminary school because God held up his end of the bargain. I was going to hold up mine. And the second thing was I walked into a gym at 315 pounds, and I asked the one and only Dangerous Damon Reed if he would be my boxing coach.
And I'm sure he said, "Oh, of course."
Damon told me no.
I know.
He told me no. Yeah, he told me no. He told me no. He said, John, I'm sorry, man. I've seen how you train. I've seen how you fight. I only train champions. Like, I'm just here to work out, man. I'm done with boxing. I'm like, yeah, okay, man. No big deal. I get it. Do you care if I still come to your class? And he's like, you can come if you want. You do whatever you want. Yeah. Well, he saw how hard I was working, and he saw, the effort that I was putting in, and he saw that I just was not willing to quit. And one day he grabbed me and he pulled me aside, and he's just like, John, what do you want this so bad for? And I told him. I told him about Cooper.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he's a big tough guy on the outside, but on the inside, he's a soft, chewy marshmallow. Mm-hmm. So he agreed to take me under his wing and teach me the great art of pugilism. And 5.5 months later, Damon cut 105 pounds off me, took me from over 40% body fat to 10% body fat with a 6-pack. And I was literally eating nails and shitting staples.
Wow. And that was in how long? How short of a period of time?
5.5 months.
Holy smoke.
Yeah. Like I said, man, whatever direction I'm going, once it's all the way.
Yeah.
So for my second pro fight, I fought a guy that had a very seasoned veteran that was, 6'7", 250 pounds, knocked him out.
Yeah.
For my third pro fight, I fight Mario Munoz, who's never been stopped. 20 pro fights, 14-5 record.
You knocked his ass out.
I knocked his, and he'd never been stopped. I was the first person ever to knock him out. I knocked him out. I knocked him out, man. And Mario was tough. And I can remember Mario knocking me out back in the day just in sparring. That was for the Kansas heavyweight title. For my sixth pro fight, Brandon Carmack, who's been boxing since he was 5 years old, undefeated Missouri heavyweight champ. I was sick with the flu, and the day before the fight right before weigh-ins, Damon has this thing where he makes me get on the treadmill the day of weigh-ins and run a 6-minute mile. Yeah. He's like, no heavyweights run 6-minute miles. And I'd done it, and when I stepped off the treadmill, I top end rolled my ankle. Oh yeah, and it was just like blood. My whole foot was blood. I sprained it right before weigh-ins. Right before weigh-ins. So I fought Brandon on show. I took a breathing treatment. You know that stuff, the stinky stuff that smells like rotten eggs?
Yeah.
I did a breathing treatment 45 minutes before I got in the ring with Brandon Carmack on Showtime with a busted ankle. And then we had the fight of the night, and I beat him unanimous decision. Yeah, for the Missouri heavyweight title. And then ever since then, man, it's just kind of been the same thing. Just, bearing down and going to, and it's funny, as my boxing career progressed, my son's miracles continued to happen. All of a sudden he started walking with a walker, right? We never thought he'd be able to walk. He starts walking, he can walk with a walker. And then one day he just didn't need the walker anymore.
Jeez.
He had his hearing aids and his glasses to be able to hear and see. And one day he just didn't need the hearing aids anymore. His hearing healed. Guys, I don't know if you know this or not. Hearing doesn't heal. It doesn't.
And we know that. Bill just had a surgery to try to get some of his back.
Yeah, hearing doesn't heal. Yeah. Vision doesn't heal.
Know that.
Guys, I'm...
And Cooper's 5 now, about to be 5?
He turns 5 on the 15th.
How's he doing?
He is a walking, talking. He does my road work with me in the morning. He does my road work with me in the morning. Yeah. Oh, he's a running machine. He can run so good. His grandmas can't keep up with him anymore. Yeah, he's my inspiration, man. He's that kid's my hero.
I think he's ours now too.
Oh. Yeah,
and that is amazing.
And it's funny. He has got a relationship.
My new favorite picture. I've got a lot of pictures of John and Cooper. But that's my new favorite picture. That was just a couple days ago.
Yeah, that was Halloween.
It's a shame he's not a good-looking
child.
I know, right?
Yeah,
I know.
Does he look like his mom?
He is a lady killer, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
He's a lady killer, man.
Well, let's talk. Okay, so Cooper's good. Your marriage is good.
Yeah, we just celebrated 8 years in September.
Years.
I celebrated 8 years of our 8th anniversary.
Yeah.
I celebrated 6 years of sobriety.
Yeah.
6 years of sobriety.
Yeah, good.
September was a big month.
That's
September
awesome.
was a big month.
Well, December's a big month too, because let's get back. Let's get to the boxing. Okay, so right now you got those 3 titles.
Yes, sir. Kansas, Missouri, and American Boxing Organization.
And ABO. Yep. And we did early on in the program. We talked about the next match, which is coming up in December and in Topeka.
Yes, sir.
And it is for 2 belts. Let's talk a little more about that.
Yeah, so I'm fighting Khalil Smoot, 14-3. I'm 15-0. He's 14-3. For the IBF American Heavyweight title and for the ABO North American Continental title.
What's the date?
December 13th at Stonewall Valley Event Center in Topeka, Kansas. Marco Romero, the pride of Olathe, will be fighting on the card. He may be fighting for an IBF youth title. Ronell Burnett, stud middleweight out of Garrison Gym in Kansas City, will be fighting Iron Alvarez for the ABO lightweight title. Mm-hmm. Sorry, lightweight. Jeff Page, the Kansas kid out of Wichita, will be fighting Russell Harris out of St. Louis for the Kansas, Missouri cruiserweight title and the ABO cruiserweight title.
Big night.
We have
titles everywhere.
Yeah, this will be the biggest night of fights the Midwest has ever seen. We are projected to have the biggest in attendance, the biggest show in the state of Kansas history.
Wow. That is huge.
Yep.
That's huge. Well, we've got some guys here that might want to come watch you.
Well, I think I got a spot for you.
Well, I think we're going to be there.
yeah.
I already cleared it with my wife, by the way. So
man.
I'm definitely going to be
yeah,
there.
Good man.
Yeah, you'll have three knuckleheads there.
Yeah, and you know, guys, you'll see something. I'm not that great of a. I'm not a great fighter. You know, I'm not bigger or stronger. I'm definitely small for the heavyweight division. I'm at the very smallest you can possibly be. But I am driven by something more than, you know. And I found the secret to fighting, and kind of the secret to life when it comes to competition. Yeah. It's not about being the biggest or the strongest or the smartest or the fastest or the meanest. All I really got to do to win is have a little bit of gas left in my tank when yours runs out.
That's right. Bingo. Yeah.
It's a lot easier to knock these monsters out when they can't keep their hands up.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's been fun, and you know, God's just continued to bless me. You know, with prison ministry and my ministry with my church, my recovery ministry, and all the entrepreneurship. You know, when I left my good job to beat my own path, and I partnered with two friends and took an auto glass company from an $80,000 a year company to an $80,000 a month company in a year. Yeah. You know, and then I sold that and I went to work for the TV station. Now I'm a morning show host for KSNT.
I was just going to bring it up too.
And then I get invited. You know, I start Cantrell Properties and Management, where I'm able to lease to Oxford houses and to ministry housing, just all kinds of cool stuff. And now we're doing 3D concrete printed homes.
You know, I saw that. I don't know if it was on 60 Minutes or something about that several months ago, and I thought, are you serious?
Yeah, so my friend,
and they're just
my guy Chris Stimler, my friend and partner, we've known each other through the 2030 Club of Topeka for several years now. It's a group of young men that are professionals, that are business owners or C-level executives that have a heart for children's philanthropy, and we make big donations all over the city for kids. You know, that's our motto is a man never stands so tall as when he kneels to help a child.
Yes. Oh, yes, sir.
So so Chris calls me one day and he's like, hey, remember at the Children's Charity Gala back in 2021 when we were talking about concrete printed houses, you told me if I ever got it going and that you'd want to invest. And I'm like, yeah, I remember that conversation. He's like, well, I bought a $1.5 million printer and we've got 60 houses already sold and this and that. And I'm opening up 40 shares to do a cap raise. And I'm like, yeah, count me in. So I buy in, and my family buys in, and my friends buy in, and everybody. And next thing I know, Chris calls me. He's like, hey, how'd you feel about coming to work over here? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, there's only one of me, and I need another one of me, and you're the only one I know who's got relationships like that. He's like, why don't you come work for the company? I'm like, oh, okay, I think I could do that. So now I'm the vice president of business development for Trident Homes and the morning show for KS. All kinds of fun stuff. And you know what? Idle hands are the devil's workshop.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting ready to get big into prison ministry with my spiritual. You know, Bill, I got to tell you about Bill. So when I went to prison, God immediately started putting gentlemen in my life that could teach me the Bible. Yeah. You know, and what it meant to me. And one of my really good friends, Orrin Woodfin, you know, people talk about, you know, God tells us the Bible's written on all of our hearts. Mm-hmm. It's just unlocking that. Well, Orrin had the most incredible recall. You could tell him any problem you have and he knew book, chapter, verse, right where to go. So God put Orrin in my life to lead me through that book for the first time. And I'm sitting there and I'm reading it, and a lot of things aren't making any sense because I'd read the New Testament and then gone back to read the Old Testament. And at the time I was like, nah, I don't know about this. I figured it out. But Orrin walked up to me and he handed me a book and he said, John, you should read this while you're going through the Bible. It's proof that guys like us can find salvation. And he handed me The Ultimate Pardon. Yeah. So Bill became a spiritual hero of mine, you know, that day. And it's so interesting, you know, it's September 5th, a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, and I'm on my way to Damon and I, Coach, call it the Spot. It's the first stop outside of Topeka, the little gas station on the interstate, on the toll road. And I'm talking to Damon, and I see 816 number come across my phone, and I don't recognize it. And I'm like, it's somebody that wants to sell me a business or something crazy. And I look at it, and I see the name Bill Corum in the voicemail, because you know how it dictates for you. Mm-hmm. So I get done, and I'm like, all right, Damon, I'll see you in a minute, because he's meeting me there, and then we're heading to the weigh-ins up at the hotel, or McCarthy, or wherever we were. And I pick up the phone, and I call the number back, and I'm like, who is this? This is Bill Corum. I'm like, this can't be my Bill Corum, the one that wrote the Ultimate Pardon that I've been wanting to meet my entire life. And he's like, yep, just so happens it's the one of the same. I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Jeez.
There's no way Bill Corum. I'm on the phone right now with Bill Corum. He's like, buddy, I've been told by several people that I need to meet you. And I'm like, tell me you come. He's like, I'm coming to the fight. I'll see you at the fight. And I'm like, man, can you sign my book for me? And he's like, yeah, but I'll sign your book for you, of course.
Oh, man. When was this?
This was
8 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I swear I thought you've known him for 20 years.
No, he read my book
Oh, for
9
the
years
love of
ago
the
in prison,
Lord.
and
Oh,
10
my.
years.
It was 2000. It was 2013. So
Well,
So the year
12 years ago.
the year the book came out, 2013.
Yeah, 2000. Well, it would have been. I read the book in the end of 13.
Yeah.
Bill, did you
Crazy.
ever dream that writing a book like The Ultimate Pardon would lead to relationships like I too, I thought you guys had been friends forever. I mean, how special is it for you sitting there knowing that your book started John on his path, and now the Lord has put you guys together, and holy cow, I can't even imagine a more dynamic duo.
You know, I meet people, like, it's really crazy how people come into my life that read my book here or there, and, you know, then I meet them and they can't believe it's me, and it kind of embarrasses me, really. Mm-hmm. It really does, because I don't want to be famous. I want to make Jesus famous. I have no desire to be famous, and it's like now that we're on every inmate has a tablet now.
Yep.
And we're on tablets now in 47 states, over 1 million inmates, 1,100,000 the last count. And they're gaining every day because they're getting new jails and prisons every day. They're saying by this time next year they may be on 2 million tablets. And so I go into prisons and they're like, oh, hi, Bill. And I'm like, you know me? And they're like, yeah, we see you on the tablet. Every day we see you on the tablet because we're putting stuff on there all the time, you know. And it's God. It's not me. So I'm very happy that the Lord's doing what He's doing. So,
yeah, people are drawn to guys like Bill and I, but it's not us that they're drawn to. It's the reflection of Jesus.
it's the Holy Spirit.
It
Yes.
It's the
Yeah.
Our job is to reflect the light of Christ into other people's lives, and it's His light in our reflection. You know, we're just shining His light back at them. It's the Jesus they see in us that they're drawn to.
Well, John, you talked earlier about step 5, and both of you and hopefully Bill and I are on our way to doing step 12, and that's sharing upon having this spiritual awakening. We share
As a result of these,
yeah.
As a result of these steps.
As a result of these steps, we share this with others in all the contacts that we make. And
Amen.
That's what you guys are doing, and we strive to do and are trying to do in our lives now, too.
Well, the Bible says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks.
Yes,
So
sir.
it's hard for me to get around anybody and not talk about Jesus because that's all that's in my heart. So out of the abundance of my heart, I'm going to speak. So,
Amen.
Well, this has been enlightening. It's been fascinating. John, go get those 2 belts.
God willing, my friend.
We're going to be there with you that night. We're going to show up. We'll be there. Bill, thank you, brother, for bringing this gentleman.
Okay,
You guys are both, you're both champions. Whether you've got 3 belts, 5 belts, or no belts, you're both champions for what you do and what you do for not only us, but for the listening audience and for everyone you come in contact with. And God bless you both for that.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Bill.
Yes, sir.
Okay, don't forget, please check out our full podcast episodes and look at the reels. And you can find all of those on YouTube, Spotify, and Patreon. Please connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And a double please, like and subscribe. And we really appreciate for all of you who have done so. And comment, too, because when we had Bill Corum on last time, Bill.
Wow, explosive.
Yeah, and thank you for those comments. We really appreciate that. And check out our next episode of Bill and Tony's Excellent Adventure. We'll see you.